see. One participant, two. All right. There we go. I started admitting folks. Hi, Roger. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Sort of bringing you folks in as you guys enter. Hi, Emily. Hi, Amy. It's good to see you guys. Oh, this is so much fun.
You too. Hi.
Oh, look at you. Hi.
Hey,
Cool.
we're here.
Opal, where are you guys? Are you guys on Mars?
Yeah,
Pretty near.
that's just our sunset tonight. What the heck?
Hey, hey,
No.
hey, guys.
Hi.
Hey, everybody.
Wow.
Emily.
Oh, multi-speaker view.
You two look good.
Oh, thank you.
You know.
Well, we're business on the top and party on the bottom.
Okay, yeah.
Which is the awesome part about Zoom. I'm just about in slippers and pajama pants down here.
Right on.
You didn't even have to tell us.
I know I did.
Emily, how you doing?
Hi, Emily. Hello,
I'm
Emily.
okay. I'm going to
Let's
see the doctor tomorrow and find out if all's healing well. I think I either misunderstood the directions or something did not get done right. He told me I could take the wrapping off after 2 days and that there would be a wet bandage over the incision, and so I could shower and everything. But when I took the Band-Aid off, what I thought was supposed to be the wet bandage was kind of slit and was slit right across where the incision was. So I put a Band-Aid around that just to keep it on there, but I'm not really sure. So we'll see.
Oh,
Ah,
We'll see what he says tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
And it hurts, but not so much I've been taking any medication for it. So I don't know whether it's hurting because I'm trying to do too much with it or it's just
Well,
normal. I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah.
believe me.
It's,
We'll
it's
see.
the gray area, but you look amazing. So
Except I'm in the dark. My light's behind me. That's not great for Zoom. So well.
oh, we've got Nancy's here. Hi, Nancy. Welcome, Nancy. She's hopping on. So you guys will be somewhat impressed with us. We practiced a lot today.
Oh,
Okay.
Hey.
Hey, Nancy. Hey, Nancy.
we're really I do this, like this is part of my thing, like in marketing and design and advertising. But I'm still, every time I get on Zoom, I'm like, what changed? Why did they change? Why did they do this? What happened?
Yeah.
I swear, different meetings, the buttons are in different positions. So it's like chat's over
every-
here, or it's below there, or it's not
Yeah.
there at all, or
Every bloody time.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
hopped on today and there was another update. So, and then there was the whole thing where I had to give my computer access to share a screen.
Yeah.
We found our way, and it seems you guys are much more savvy than we are, but at least we think
no.
we got it sorted. We'll
Ish.
see.
I just noticed that my name is IPA. I didn't get prompted. So
Congratulations on your nickname for the
new
trip.
identity. Short and sweet.
Where's iPod?
No
You know what?
idea.
I assigned you that name. That is an ancient Mayan name of a queen that ruled
That's awesome.
700 years ago.
What's IPA? I thought it was a beer.
Indian Beer. Pale Ale. That's you.
India Pale Ale.
Oh my goodness.
Again, that nickname might stick.
Mhm.
It's so good to see all of you. I think we'll just wait maybe just a couple more minutes and then we'll go ahead and get started. And we're going to record this. So we are recording now actually. And this will be available on our website. And I'll send out an email to the group too if you want to share it with anybody or just to have it handy. Oh, we've got Katrina. Is joining us.
Very nice.
Yes. Welcome, Katrina. So glad you were here. We were just dishing all of us. Hi, it's good to see you.
You too.
Hey there.
Hello.
So if it seems like I'm looking off, it's because I'm watching on my laptop.
Okay.
To make sure that everything's going copaesthetically, like we can. So because there are new iterations of Zoom that are going on, and one of the things that I noticed is so depending on what version of Zoom you have, you're either going to have like a share, so like you can raise your hand and say like, "Hey, I have a question." But now it's like this button called React. So when you click on React, you can put in emojis or you can do whatever. You can recognize, you can do hand gestures. You can say, "I have a question."
Raise your hand.
Yeah. So we're circumnavigating that. So if you guys have any questions, we're going to record this whole thing. So it's going to be on YouTube. So other people that can't quite make it tonight can go back and watch it and, see what's going on.
And now you guys know our Susan really well. She is ill. She has influenza type A.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's doing better. So she's been dealing with that this week. So we really had to step up. She's a pro in this space. So she'll be proud. Hopefully she'll be proud of us.
Yeah,
tonight.
she'll be.
Or at least not embarrassed to death.
Exactly.
At least not completely embarrassed. Yeah.
She'll be mildly embarrassed. I mean, she has to be. I mean, it's us. But but we're really thrilled to talk.
Give her our get well wishes.
Oh, thank you, Opal.
From us.
We will
definitely will. Yeah. She's a trooper.
Yeah.
So
she's the team.
She is. So you guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. And as David said, when we go into, I'm going to share my screen. So we have some slides prepared for discussion. And when we go into the screen share, we've got Lucia's here. Hi, welcome. Maybe I'll wait another minute. Hi, Lucia, welcome so much. We're glad you're here.
Hello.
She might be connecting to video too. Oh, Nancy, who's that?
She's my sweetie pie.
Oh, what is her name?
Ella.
Ella, she's beautiful.
Yeah, she's a sweetie.
It's her work at home companion.
Yeah.
A little bit, not bad.
Oh, that's wonderful.
She's my mental health supervisor.
Yeah. Mine is keeping my feet warm.
Oh, are you serious?
She's laying on my feet.
Oh,
nice.
Girl.
We had to lock the door because the cats would come in here and like walk all over everything.
And show their butts to the camera. That's their favorite thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
At least from the number of cat butts I've seen, I think that's their favorite thing.
Yeah.
That fabric is fabulous on your chair behind you.
Me?
Those cats, I can't tell quite.
They're dragons. That was there's two of them. I reupholstered them myself.
Oh, nice.
That's beautiful.
It took me a year.
You actually showed me pictures of those chairs, Nancy, when we were traveling together last.
Yeah. I finally finished them. So yeah.
That's awesome.
And I've worked
Turned
on
out
another
great,
project.
don't they?
Impressive. Wow. Oh my goodness.
Well, this is pretty informal, but it's just kind of like here we go, new trip.
Yeah, and we're just the slides will be nice because they'll be great talking points, and so you all may have questions already in mind, and you can unmute yourself and just speak up or raise your hand, and we'll call on you so that you can ask a question. So I'll try to go at a pace that won't be too fast. Some of the things that we'll share in the Zoom tonight will be familiar to you if you've been looking at the social media, and a lot of you have been receiving emails and all the information. So if you're new and you're joining us for the first time, welcome. And we have travelers, great friends that have been with us on some of our trips before, and we're so thrilled to have you guys here. And I know that we have several folks that weren't able to attend tonight, but they're here in spirit, and they'll be able to access the Zoom via the link later. So if you guys are amenable, I think I'll go ahead and share the screen. Here we go.
Learn how to do it.
All righty. And then we'll get this open for y'all. Okay. So don't look at my desktop. It's a mess. It drives David crazy.
It gives me so much anxiety. Her desktop is like 1 billion folders and images and stuff. And mine, like, I'm so anal retentive. Like, everything's like super, like, there's like 3 folders.
Yeah, he's creating a rich out of it in the best possible way, a graphic designer.
Yeah.
So this is fun because the majority of the images that we have in our slide presentation tonight are photos that we've taken in Oaxaca over the years. So when I visited Oaxaca in May, that was my fourth visit to Oaxaca, and it was mainly focused this past May, mainly focused on designing the details of this tour. So, but had some wonderful experience with all the artists, and
we've spent a lot of time in Oaxaca with people to live there. So a big part of our like wanting to do this is like our experience of like literally living there on the ground and like having the same types of things that we've done in Marrakesh and in Jaipur and Jodhpur. We've already had the experience, you know, like leading into this. So it's been really exciting to like want to take other people to this place because it's such amazing. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
definitely. All right, guys. So you all may be familiar if you're visiting for the first time. Our extensive tour is 13 days and 12 nights. And you may be familiar, but we've got a wonderful mix of hands-on workshops with artists, with weavers. You'll be doing indigo dyeing, resist dyeing. We're going to be doing hand embroidery. So the arts and the workshops, and so pottery.
Yeah.
So the workshops that we're going to be involved in are of the region of the particular portion of the Oaxaca state. So these communities, it's similar to India, where a particular community is known for their wood carving and their painting or their pottery or their weaving. And especially the textiles of Oaxaca are incredibly special because of the history with the backstrap loom weaving, which we'll be able to experience that as well. And then this is our sweet home away from home. This is La Casa de las Bugambilias. And
It's so cool.
It's a sweet boutique bed and breakfast. And there are actually two locations where we'll be staying as a group because both properties are about a 2-minute walk apart. So we're staying in Oaxaca Centro. We're in the center of the city. So part of our excursion and part of the tour will be opportunities for you to explore on your own with your travel mates. And this is where our home base is. So it's perfectly centrally located to all the interesting things you may want to experience on your own time. And it'll be really great for us as a group to have satellite from this location. So it's incredibly charming, beautifully appointed, a very intimate, small space, and beautiful outdoor, environments.
Yeah.
And we have a full breakfast, a full Oaxaca breakfast that we receive every morning as part of our stay. And then in the evenings, we're going to be experiencing a lot of amazing food throughout the city. And while we're out on our tour doing our workshop excursions, we're going to be having handmade meals with the local families and the artists.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be very special. That's something I experienced on my last trip there in May, and it was incredible. So we'll have a more detailed itinerary of restaurants and places we're going to visit. So as you are planning for the trip, you might want to do your own research. We'll have some other suggested restaurants that are highly, highly recommended. Also, the region's known for mezcal and tequila, so there's incredible opportunities to savor and try all the incredible nuances of the food scene that exists here. So we're going to eat a lot. That's the goal.
We're going to walk a lot and eat a lot.
We are going to walk a lot,
Yeah.
and we are going to eat a lot. We do have a really nice full schedule.
Amy, can we butt in as you go, or do we wait for questions?
Oh, please butt in as we go. That's perfect, actually.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit better about the two places, or about the hotel and then something else you mentioned?
Yes. So let me go back a slide.
Two locations, yeah.
There are two locations, and they are within a 2-minute walk of each other. So what we'll do, depending on the type of rooms that you folks have reserved, we had 2 single occupancy rooms available, and the remainder of the rooms were double occupancy. And the reason why we broke it up between the two, they're both part of the same property. They're just 2 historic buildings. They're smaller buildings, so they can't accommodate a large group. So that's why we had to have part of the group at one location, part of the group at the other location.
I see. Okay.
And I think if it works out, we're still working out the details with the bed and breakfast. We're going to try to have breakfast, all of us together, or we'll each have our own breakfast and our B&Bs, and then we'll get together. I think we start our day every day about 9 a.m. So it's a nice schedule. It's we don't have any 7 a.m. mornings. I don't know if some of you travel to India.
Yeah.
And we have the 7 a.m. mornings, and people were amazing and rallied. So the pace of the start of our day is a little bit more relaxed.
More chill here.
It's a little bit more chilled. So we'll have time to enjoy a nice breakfast before we hit the road. I'm trying to think what I wanted to say.
Well, like Oaxaca's like a big small town, right? So like it's a very intimate, very easy walk. So like it's a great community for something like this where people they own different casitas around the town, but like these places are just a couple minutes walk from each other. So there was no other way to do it, getting the level of sophistication that we wanted, other than like these guys have everything dialed in so well. So we wanted to make sure that everybody was staying at a really, really nice place.
Exactly.
And with like right in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point. And the other piece that was really important about this location was they have air conditioning. And I know that sounds like everybody should have air conditioning, but they don't. And although we're traveling at a really nice time of year in Oaxaca, the temperatures are in the 70s and low 80s. Very comfortable temperatures. When I was there in May, that's their hottest season. And the heat dome was also over Oaxaca. It was like 110 degrees.
yeah.
Oh.
And I did not have air conditioning. So we sleep better in a cool room, and we just know you guys are traveling. You're going to have really full days. You want to be able to have the option to get cool and get comfortable and really have a good rest. So that was another deciding factor about this particular location. Its beauty, its location is fantastic, but also that they have really great air conditioning.
Yeah. Very sophisticated
Yeah.
rooms.
But also, we have a transport service that
Oh.
will be taking us to all of our experiences every day. So we'll have a pickup time, and we will have that all coordinated for you guys where whichever casita you're staying in, you'll be the pickup group number one, and then the other building will pick up group number two, unless we're all having breakfast together. We're still sorting out whether or not we can all have breakfast together. But it'll be a really easy pickup. So you just have to be outside the front of your building at said time, 9 o'clock or 9:05, depending whether you're group A or group B, and we scoop you up and
We all go together.
all go together.
Yeah.
And then all of our meals will be together. So we'll have our dinners together, unless it's, we have free time designed in for you guys on this trip, because this is a beautiful walking city. It's gorgeous. The art galleries, the museums, just the historic areas and locations within the city and around the city you can walk to very easily and explore.
It's different than Jaipur or Morocco, where we pretty much have to like go to where we're going to be exploring. Here, you're going to be right in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
So this is a very unique experience because like we're going to be right in the middle of all the good stuff. So we don't have to like rely entirely on like, hey, we're going to pick you up, we're going to drop you off in the middle of the square in Morocco, and then you're going to you got to be right back here. Like there's going to be more opportunities to have like kind of open-ended
exploration.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah, I was excited when I saw on the map that it looked like it was right in the heart of the town. I'm like, okay, great. So
Yeah.
It is.
It's super chill. It's super easy to get around. It's super safe.
We're also going to provide a walking map for you. So you'll have an opportunity one particular afternoon. If you want to join Dave and I, you can. If you don't want to, you want to go off on your own or with a buddy. We will always suggest that you travel with a buddy. So we don't encourage anybody to go off on your own just because you can get disoriented in a different city.
Yeah.
And even though we'll all be connected on WhatsApp and so forth, and we just always highly recommend that on our tours, because it's better to have two heads are better than one a lot of times when you're in a new location. But Oaxaca in particularly will be very easy to navigate, but we'll also provide you guys with a shopping tour or a walking guide. And again, before the trip, as we approach, what we do is share informational emails with you guys. So we have done a lot of research on other interesting things. Like I couldn't pack it all in on the trip. And you guys would not sleep. But on your own time, something might look appealing to you. You might like, I really want to see that museum. It's not on our itinerary, or I want to check out this restaurant. My friend recommended it that traveled here. Or just doing research online and, something that you might find might not be on our itinerary. So we're going to do our best to provide other wonderful things to check out on your own when you do have your free time. And of course, it's beautiful, nice little chunks of time where you can just use it however you wish, or you may just want to take a nap. So It's all good. It's your trip. So we want to encourage that. Roger, did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So then this slide is just a little teaser for some of the artists and activities we're going to enjoy. So we'll spend some time in the weaving community, the rug weaving community, which is a really prominent art form in Oaxaca. And actually one of the gentlemen that's going to be taking us throughout the community, and we're going to be having an indigo dye workshop with his wife, Elsa. It's Eric Chavez and his wife, Elsa. And she's a master dyer. So what you're seeing in this slide, on the lower part of the slides, on the far left, those are all yarns that she dyes with plants. And then you see her brother-in-law in the image above her, who is weaving a rug using the natural dyed wool. So the majority of the fibers they're using are wool, but they also do use wool and silk. Yeah. It just depends on the fine detail of the designs. And then the other dyed yarns that you see on the bottom of the slide are also Elsa's work. I got to spend an afternoon dyeing with her. And this workshop's fascinating because she goes into detail about the incredible history of indigo in Oaxaca. And it's some of you have traveled with us to India, and indigo is also really important in India as well. So it's a fascinating peek into the indigo and the value of indigo in Oaxaca history. And also, we'll be making our own dye vats with the indigo dye stuff, the plant materials. So it's all going to be very hands-on.
Do we get to watch Roger show off again with his pottery skills?
Yes, we will. Of course. Yes, we have an expert with us.
When the potters in the villages are like, "This guy's really good," you're like, "Oh, okay." Well.
Yes. Some of the other things. Yes.
Amy, do the artists speak English?
Yes, a majority of them do.
Majority? Okay.
But the beautiful woman on the top section of the slides who's showing us her backstrap loom piece, she does not speak English. She is one of the master weavers of Oaxaca. And we're going to travel up the mountain to meet her and see her working and have her explain her work. And Eric, who will be with us, will be translating for us.
Yeah.
And what I love about Eric is that he fills in all the incredible details in between her family history, how she became a weaver. There's some fascinating political history that affected her life and how she built a life with her art form. So it's what we're going to find when you come to Oaxaca is it's very integrated. And Oaxaca has done a beautiful job of weaving together all of the resources within the communities that support the art forms. For example, the fibers that are used in the wool or the cotton is all grown regionally. It's all produced organically. So you have all these different sectors and factors within the culture that supports each other. And it's this very beautiful, strong, symbiotic community, all the way up to high-end, beautiful, created, garment collections. In Oaxaca City, there'll be some galleries with some incredible handmade clothing. And it's all utilizing the natural fibers, the natural plant dyes. So all the different folks in the communities are integrated together so that everybody thrives. And it's a very successful pattern. And I was really impressed by it's such an old culture. These are old historic art forms. And how they have managed to revive some of them. And what's interesting, some of the weaving styles we'll see were inspired by a gentleman traveling to India and bringing back a treadle loom. I mean, a drop spindle loom. So drop spindle weaving is how a lot of the fibers are processed to get them into the form where they can actually be used for weaving. And that was from technology that came from India. So it's fascinating. And I think, what's special about this trip is that we really go deep into the incredible textile culture in Oaxaca. And we're traveling with Eric, who's an absolute expert. So I think you're in for a treat.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the printmaking because that's something, all the times we've been there, we've gone into some of the artist studios, but we've never really got to experience the like hands-on printmaking, which is incredible because they're world renowned for their incredible wood block printing and stuff. It's
we have a whole day in the studio with a master printer.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
In the countryside and in the village, so we're when we go to have these experiences, we're going to be satelliting out from Oaxaca City and spending time in the city, depending on what we're doing. So you guys are our guinea pigs too, so you'll have to let me know what you think.
It's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions before I move forward on the slide here? Okay.
So I have a question about whether we'll need rubber gloves for the indigo dyeing. When I was in Japan and we did the dyeing, we had to wear these rubber gloves and boots and a big apron and stuff like that. Will they?
Yes.
Do they have stuff for us, or should we be bringing dirty, things that we can get messy?
That's a great question. I think they'll have rubber gloves for us for the dyeing, or you don't have to wear gloves. It's indigo. It's natural. It's actually very good for you to absorb the indigo into your system. But if you don't want to get the dye all over you,
don't want to be blue.
You don't want to be blue. Yeah. So they will provide gloves, but that's a great point, Emily. And we can add that to the packing list, is just to bring some scrubbies for some of these workshops so that you're not conscious about ruining a nice blouse or a good pair of pants or some sturdy shoes, which this is a very physical trip in terms of we're going to be doing a lot of walking. We're going to be out in the countryside. We're going to be in historic areas within Oaxaca. So a good solid pair of shoes and shoes are things that, there's your baby Ipa. So that's a great question though, Emily. And if you have an extra pair of gloves, it doesn't hurt to throw it in. You might want them for something else that we're doing. But the workshops that we've designed with the artists will provide all the supplies that we need and aprons and things like that. But yeah, that's a great point. Okay, so the next slide is about a Tezmacall spa. It's a ritual that is of the region where we'll be experiencing almost like a steam, like a hot steam.
Yeah.
We go in.
Steam bath.
Yeah.
And have any of you ever experienced one yet? Have you guys had one yet?
I mean, I've done like a steam bath kind of thing before, but
yeah, it's kind of, so you see the building up in the photograph here on the left-hand corner. I'm not exactly sure we'll be in a building exactly like this, but it will be a space that's very intimate. You can wear a swimming suit, you can wear a towel, but it's going to be a heated environment where you'll be exposed to steam. It'll be very relaxing. There'll be lots of fresh herbs. It's a very chill, beautiful, relaxing experience. So we start with our steam bath with the herbs, and then we get to experience a healing deep tissue massage. So this is a pamper spa thing.
Yeah.
It is indigenous. It's part of the culture. And so it also has a spiritual aspect of it. It's not religious, but it just has a very peaceful, it's a blessed experience. So it's a great place to just relax and enjoy something really beautiful and special that's out of the area.
Not quite like the one we had in Marrakesh, huh?
No.
Why not?
no scrub down.
That was the best scrubbing I ever had in my life.
The intense scrub down. Yeah, right? It's awesome. when you
Yeah.
get used to it, when you get used to the idea, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's very like,
Yeah.
woo, okay, we're doing this now. All right.
And we can reach out to you guys as well if, like Roger and Opal, you might want to have a shared experience, or if you're traveling by yourself, you might want to have a private experience. So we still have to sort out all the organization of the details of, and offer you guys some options about how you'd like to do that.
But it's very chill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a really beautiful experience, and that's
Steamy,
what,
but
yeah.
steamy, but chill somehow.
steamy but chill. Yeah,
Steamy but chill. Yeah, yeah.
we'll make you comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, with anything that we do, if you're experiencing something and you're not comfortable, your comfort is number one. So we get things sorted for you. We help you if it's a situation that, like, you know what, this isn't my cup of tea after all. We'll help you through that and work through it. But
Yeah.
it's if you've done any spa time or you've had massages or anything like that, it's going to be of the same
This can
spirit.
be pretty commonplace. Yeah.
All right. So this is another wonderful slide of some of the other artisans we're going to meet. So the gal in the bottom left-hand corner is from a region where they're known for their silk embroidery. It's actually rayon silk thread. So the bodice that the top of the shirt that she's wearing, that's a hand-loomed cotton, and that's all her hand embroidery on the top of her shirt. So we're going to do a project with her, and we're going to learn some of the traditional embroidery techniques.
Oh.
And the young woman here, the next slide over to the right, her name is Lily, and she's one of the prominent backstrap loom weavers in Oaxaca. So we're going to visit her and her studio, and that's going to be part of our collector's tour, which is part of the textile experience that Eric Chavez is going to lead us on. And then the wonderful woman who is stitching, that's a hand woven cotton and wool. It's a small weaving. It's like a small rug. And so she and her sister came up with a business to empower women. So all the weaving for these bags, she and her sister do the sewing. And then the other women in the community do all the weaving on their looms at their homes. So again, it's all natural dyes. It's so that women can work from home, be able to have an independent income.
Same.
And so it's a beautiful cooperative. And these ladies are so delightful. They are so lovely. So we'll get to spend time meeting them. They'll walk us through their studio. We'll see their process. And if anybody wants to try making something with them, they're happy to teach you their process. So it's really, really lovely. And then we're going to be eating a lot and seeing incredible markets. So these are all photographs I took on my recent trip to Oaxaca. And the gentleman on the left is one of the prominent mezcal maestros. And we're going to spend a beautiful day in the countryside on his property, touring his plantation of agave. So what's fascinating about him is he is producing the mezcal in the ancestral style. So if you're familiar with mezcal at all, this is the old traditional style of creating the mezcal, which by hand, it's all by hand. The second level of mezcal that
they
developed,
use donkeys.
They use donkeys and a grinding wheel, but this is all by hand. So we'll be visiting him on his property. He also grows a diverse variety of agave. And we'll be able to, the countryside is absolutely beautiful. And this is one of my favorite experiences. And then after touring the property with him and getting to know him, having him share about his process, his heritage, we'll spend time at his distillery where they'll walk us through the process of the giant, huge agave hearts that they slow roast and smoke and then are processed by hand into the mezcal. And then we'll have a tasting of his 21 varieties of mezcal.
21 now. Oh.
But little tiny nibbles, like nobody's going to get in trouble. But they're beautiful. He might. Shouldn't say that. But they're beautiful, and he is such a character, and he's so passionate about what he does. I felt like it was one of the most special experiences that I had on that.
It's not a tourista thing. It's not a tourista thing. It's like very much like you got to know where you got to know who this, you have to know to go, basically, kind of a thing, which is pretty awesome.
It's
Looks like we're going to need substantial shoes for this one, huh?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's not particularly steep terrain, but it's dry, it's rocky. You don't want to be walking around in flip-flops, although he is. He's kind of in sand. Those are his bare feet.
They're all falling apart.
He's a tough guy. I mean, his feet are like leather. But yeah, you want to always want a good pair of shoes on this trip, no matter where we're walking, because of all the different surfaces, the terrain. But it's a very relaxing, fascinating afternoon. So this will be kind of a half-day experience. And then we'll end up having a wonderful handmade lunch on our way back towards Oaxaca, and we'll have another workshop experience on our way back. And then the photos that I've shared here are photographs from all the markets. So folks, there's regional markets, and there's community country markets where the local people shop that aren't as touristy. So we'll be taking you to some of those markets, and we'll be having experiences in the markets. We're going to have a culinary day where we're going to be working with a local chef, and we're going to tour one of the markets. We're going to shop for our supplies, and we're going to make our dinner together. And while we're at the market, we're going to have a traditional cacao experience. So this is one of my favorite things because of the color and the produce, and it's so beautiful. And you have sections of the market that are all this incredible produce, and then you have sections of the market that are like weavings and textiles and pottery and all the beautiful things that they make. And a lot of these local markets have a very utilitarian feelings, meaning they're of the people. So they're not touristy, they're not shoppy, even though you can find some incredible handmade things there. These are things that people buy and need, and they have a meaning. So we'll be doing a little bit of both. We'll also do some amazing hiking around and looking at some beautiful galleries and shops too.
But that stuff's kind of everywhere. Like that's easy to find.
Yeah.
Like we like the easy stuff's right out. You can just walk to it. But like going to these kind of markets where the tourists don't really know exactly where this kind of stuff is really exciting and fun, especially with the food culture, because that's where you really can like deep dive into like what
tomatoes, huh?
Yeah, really great.
Well, it's nice because the food that we're looking at and the slides here also have significant meaning. Like the beautiful pink bowl with the squash blossoms, those are all the ingredients for a traditional Oaxacan soup. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's kind of like a to-go package.
Oh, wow.
Another guest with us. Welcome, Michelle. So it's sort of like a to-go package of supplies you buy and take home and make your soup, which also includes worms, oddly enough.
Yeah.
So, but fascinating.
What is that pile of in the top row?
Oh, the fruit?
Yeah. What is that?
It's a cross between a melon and a mango. It's sort of like also papaya. And it's a seasonal fruit, and I'm not sure if I can't remember the name of it. I'm not sure if it's available
when we'll be there
year round when we're there. It was in season when I was there.
It was in season in May. Yeah, it might be past season when we go there in August.
But it's kind of sweet. The seeds are really beautiful. You can see the giant black seeds and the one on the far right, top right. They're just gorgeous. I did not taste one, which was a misstep on my part. I think we'll have
you
to
can't
do that.
taste everything.
Yeah.
there's too much amazing stuff.
Yeah. So, oops. Minute. Where am I? Oh, there we go. Oh, and the soup that I was describing to you from the market in the pink basket with the squash blossoms, that's the soup on the left.
Oh, wow.
That's delicious.
Yeah. It was fresh. That is a worm casing. And I didn't know what it was at first. It's fascinating. There are certain times of the year where there are giant ants that I think it's right when right before rain, if it rains a lot, these giant ants come up out of the ground. And it's a delicacy. And people lose their minds collecting these ants, I guess. So
it's kind of like mushroom season in the United States.
Yeah, but they dry them in the sun. And so when we're at the markets, if anybody's interested, we can find some if you want to taste them. that can be found.
I've done this all over the world. Like I've had crickets in Japan, and I've had, like grasshoppers in parts of Asia, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty good. Not amazing, but they considered it a delicacy. He's just like,
Well, it's good
take it or
protein.
leave it.
It's good protein.
Yeah.
Hey, I've had fermented whale in Iceland, so it can't be worse than that.
Oh,
Oh boy.
I had it too, Emily. I had the shark. The fermented.
Right. Oh my gosh, not so great.
It tastes like a tire dipped in alcohol.
Oh,
Terrible. It's bad.
Just about that chewy too.
Oh, it's pretty bad news. Yeah.
But you got to try it once, right?
You gotta try it. Like they're like, it's a tradition, so you gotta try it.
worm.
We'll have plenty of opportunities to try incredible food, and a lot of the market food
The food here is just unbelievable.
is safe to taste
Yeah.
also. So I think we can be pretty adventurous here, and we can also check with our guides that are with us to make sure.
Just to make
But
sure. But everything is so good.
we've had a great experience.
Yeah, I've never had a problem there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. All right, traveling to Mexico. And I might read a little bit off of some of these slides.
And a lot of you guys might already know a lot of this stuff, so.
But this is a little bit different going to Mexico.
Yeah.
If you've not been, it's not a big deal, but everybody gets a tourist card when you're on the plane before you deplane. And the cost of the tourist card is $25, but that's already included in your airfare, so you don't have to think about it. So essentially, upon arrival, you get off the plane and they have little areas or desks and pencils and pens, and it's a simple form. You just have to put your passport number, your information on there, list the hotel or wherever you're going, and you'll all have that information from us. But it's very simple. So that's just the unique bit about arriving in Mexico. But if you have any questions or you want to look into it more deeply, you can go to the mexicotouristcard.com website and get more information on that. But it's very basic, actually.
Yeah, super basic.
And then the important thing is you want to make sure your passport's current within 6 months of traveling. We've actually run into that, Dave and I, before, and had to get our passports renewed in a pinch.
Expedited, yeah.
Yes. So if you want to make sure you avoid that, and make sure if your current passport is still current, you want to make sure that you have blank pages for the stamps from Mexico. So that's just a tip, and many of you are seasoned travelers and you're aware of that. But if you haven't looked at your passport in a while, you just check it out now so you have time to respond to that. Okay, so our final destination is OAX, which is the airport in Oaxaca City. And there are multiple flights that come into Oaxaca from Houston, American from Dallas, and Valeris budget airline from Los Angeles, depending on what part of the country you guys are coming from. I usually fly United into Houston. We just have a long time relationship with United from going back and forth to India. So that's kind of why I tend to fly United. There are lots of options to fly. But also options to connect from other major cities in the U.S. around the world via Mexico City. There's also Mexican airlines, include the Emirates, KLM, Air Canada, and many others. So Susan is a huge support in this area as well. So you'll receive emails from us encouraging you to start looking at flights. We may reiterate some of these suggestions, or you may have airlines that you like to fly with because you have points programs and things like that. So it's very flexible, and I think the whole point of this slide mainly is there are lots of options and there's a lot of ease. And
it's easy to get in.
It's very easy to arrive in Oaxaca, and it's a smaller airport. I think there's 1 or 2 luggage belts, so it's nice. It doesn't feel overwhelming. You just, it's a wonderful feeling to land. I like landing in a small city.
Yeah, it's not like flying into Mumbai or
it's like chill.
Flying into Marrakesh.
Yeah,
Marrakesh isn't that bad, but.
Yeah, it's pretty comfortable.
Berlin is bad when you fly.
Berlin, yeah.
Oh my God,
crazy. Berlin is crazy.
Okay, so
on the airlines,
yeah,
would you recommend that we go ahead and make reservations like now, or wait a bit, or thoughts on that?
I think it's good to start looking, and that's a point that Susan and Dave and I are going to talk about here in the next week or so. Kind of our bullet points of hot items we want you guys to start thinking about in preparation for the trip. I don't think it's ever too soon to look. Just if anything, to get a feel for the diversity of flights available to you, depending on where you guys are coming from, to see what your options are.
It's generally like the general rule for like global travel is to be probably 4 to 3 months in advance, to get the best rates. When you start to close in on 2 months, 6 weeks, you start to get into like higher price points because the way the airlines work. But generally, if you're looking like 3 to 4 months out, and we're well beyond that, like we're
Yeah.
5, 6 months out. Well, 5 months out. So I would start to look. I would start to look now and see what's available.
Yeah.
And when would we be arriving? On the 17th?
That's on the next slide.
Yes, we want you to come in a day before. You can also arrive the morning of. It just depends on what your connections are and your schedule. We try to encourage everybody to try to arrive the day before, just so that you can acclimate to the local time zone. You can kind of relax yourself, get familiar with the surroundings a little bit, and feel like you can take a deep breath and take your time before you arrive to the hotel.
So would we arrive on the 17th, and would we be able to get a room at the hotel or arrange our own?
That's what we'll have to look at, the availability for rooms at the hotel and that we could put forward for you guys. Or there's so many different places to stay.
Roger, when you guys flew into Marrakesh, how did you do it? Because generally, like what if you fly in like a day or two in advance, you kind of tend to book your own. Like even Amy and I, when we fly into Marrakesh ahead of, like we would stay at Peacock Pavilions, we would stay in Marrakesh. And
we did that, yeah. We stayed the day before, and we had a delightful hotel.
Yeah, exactly.
In town. Yeah, it was great.
So sometimes it's
the same thing on leaving then. We would be leaving on the 31st or the day after the 30th.
The final day is I don't have the actual schedule in front of me.
Yeah.
The last day of the tour, that morning of, we'll have breakfast, and then that'll be your departure day.
Okay. No, that's not clear.
I don't have this. I don't have the schedule with me. Excuse me.
The actual schedule we don't have right in front of us right now.
That would have been a good thing to have in front of us.
Yeah,
to answer that question. So
no, but I mean, like it's kind of the same thing, Roger. Like when we left Marrakesh, right? So like we have breakfast at Peacock Pavilions, and then everybody flies. So a lot of people decide to stay on for 3 or 4 days. They're like they might want to, like you might want to go to another part of Mexico, or so we tend to be kind of flexible on when you want to leave on the day of, but like the tour running up to that end date is.
The simplest way to describe is we'll provide a full itinerary here very soon. So you'll have plenty of time to plan if you want to stay on in Oaxaca for a day or so, or if you want to plan your departure on the end of the tour. But we end the morning of the last day of the tour, and that gives you time to travel back home on that day if you wish. But we'll provide that in the next couple weeks or so.
Yeah.
We have a working schedule right now. We actually have a slide showing the actual itinerary without dates right now, just because we're finalizing some of the transportation with the transportation company and so forth. So we didn't want to finalize. The number of days are the same number of days. The dates are the same, the 18th through the 31st.
Yeah.
Those dates are all the dates of the tour. It's just all the specifics, hour by hour, activity by activity, are in our working schedule, but we want to make sure we have that all cleaned up and organized.
Yeah, so currently it's August 18th through 30th.
Yes.
So that on the 30th would be the final, like the breakfast would be the morning of the 30th, not the 31st.
Yes. That's correct.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any other questions about the travel piece or airlines or anything?
I know this is Amy. Oh,
go ahead.
I know I usually like to fly Delta, and I know one of my there's only like one flight that, goes to Mexico City and then through. And I know that that's filling up already, but yeah, I definitely have to arrive the day before. And I was even kind of looking if I could arrive a day or two earlier. And I was looking to see if, what there was, how hard was it to get to the coast? I'm not familiar with this area. I've done a lot of travel more on the Yucatan side, but yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts, if you've been, how far, have you gone outside of Oaxaca? Or the other thing I was thinking of maybe doing a night or two in Mexico City if someone wanted to join me there. But yeah, I'm still kind of figuring all that out.
So I did travel to the coast when I was in Oaxaca in May, and it's a flight. So
okay.
I
thought it might have been.
They have a highway now that goes directly to the coast, and it's much shorter than it used to be a long haul.
You used to drive crazy. That's a lot better.
But
good to know.
Long.
Yeah, you're still looking at a 2 or 3 hour drive to the coast, or a short flight. And then the flights happen with a small carrier, so an independent carries you, which is what I did. And it was fine. It was a small plane. Yeah. But Mexico City, if you have 2 days, if you're thinking 2 days, Mexico City would be wonderful.
Yeah.
I think. That's what I would suggest.
Okay.
If you wanted to stay on after our tour and you did want to travel to the seaside, we can certainly provide that information for you too. So these are great points, because then we can just provide you guys with other options as you build out the trip if you want to extend or stay a little bit longer and try something else.
Yeah, I know I won't be able to extend, so I'm kind of looking more on the front end. And Gail from Australia, as you know, she was talking about maybe even coming to the States beforehand to visit, and then maybe flying down together. I'm not sure. We haven't connected in a little while, but yeah, we're trying to kind of work a little bit of that out.
Okay. So what we'll do, just from this conversation is so great, we'll expedite a more formal schedule for you guys so that you can see the activities that we're doing. And then we'll also provide other options for activities for you if you arrive the day ahead. So we'll kind of give you the hot points of what we're doing, but then also give you some other suggestions of things you might want to check out. So.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of work in Mexico City, like retail design work there, and it's pretty amazing. But it's profoundly massive and overwhelming. So like, you want to stay in a nice hotel there. You want to have like a driver to take you around.
I'd want to make sure I probably wouldn't do it alone either, but just see if someone else might be up for it, or
it's supposed to be just a beautiful city too. There's just some incredible things to see there.
Yeah, the plazas. It's truly incredible. The Ballet Folklorico is amazing to go see, and there's a lot of good stuff to do there. But it's
big,
enormous.
Yeah, it's a big city. Okay, all right, you guys. If we can hop back around. So if anybody thinks of another question, we can hop back and look at things too. This is kind of pointing to what I was talking about a couple minutes ago. So on arrival day, we have a welcome cocktail hour, and then we have a welcome dinner, and that starts at 6 p.m. So that's why we recommend arriving the day prior, which we've all discussed. So that's really the main point, is thinking about you and how you're going to feel after being on the road for
however many hours
to get there. Even though I feel like Oaxaca is one of the more relatively easier places to travel to, we still have all the ups and downs and unknowns of airlines and things that can happen in between. So when I travel, I always like to try to add some buffer around the times when I'm supposed to be somewhere, just so I can be relaxed. So, and then this is what we discussed also on departure day. We'll have an 8 a.m. breakfast so that everybody can have a nice meal and take off. We also suggest that you avoid departing too early in the morning, as it makes your evening before less enjoyable. And you need to depart about 2 to 3 hours prior to your flight. So unless you're traveling within Mexico, majority of us are going to be on international flights, and that, you need to be at the airport at least 2 to 3 hours before you fly. So this is Susan's thoughtfulness right here. She's a very thoughtful traveler, and
very conscientious.
She's very conscientious. Okay, so what to pack? This is just a general. You guys are great packers and travelers, and these are just some ideas, and we'll send this in an email to everyone too, that signs up for the email list if you guys are already traveling with us. But it's interesting, as we discussed earlier, May's the hot month. And in August, when we're traveling there, we're looking at around 80 degrees, maybe to 84 degrees. The daily low is around this, high 50s, low 60s. And rarely exceeds 63 degrees, falling below 56 or exceeding 63 degrees. So it's very nice temperature. But anywhere you're traveling, we always suggest layers. It's warm and it's dry, but when the sun starts to fall, it starts getting chilly. So it's better to have more than not having enough. And also during the day, the sun is really strong. It's a beautiful sunny place. So you're going to want to wear sunscreen, sunglasses, easy packable stuff. And the overarching idea about packing is less is more also, because you don't want to haul around a gigantic bag of luggage.
You're going to end up buying stuff.
Well, you can, I always pack a duffel bag and or a small piece of luggage that I can tuck in my larger piece of luggage for wonderful things you find. I'm sure there'll be opportunities. We're going to look into this for you in more detail about the possibility of shipping things home if you find some items that can't easily go with you on the plane or travel home with you. So we'll look into all that for you guys well in advance of the trip. Again, we talked earlier about having good walking shoes or sturdy sandals. I do well with Birkenstocks if we're not in a hiking environment. So depending on the activity of the day, like for example, when we're out visiting the Mezcal Maestro, I'll be wearing sturdy shoes. And when we're walking around in town, I'll be wearing just a strong foot-bedded sandal, like a Birkenstock or something like that, or tennis shoes.
Pretty standard stuff, really. I mean,
just kind of your normal fare if you're packing for something like that. And then our list of other things for you guys to consider are hand sanitizer, obviously. And we're asking everybody as a mandatory item to bring face masks, a minimum of 3, because in case you get sick, you're going to want to have a mask to protect the rest of the group. If you're a functioning sick, like a cold or a virus, we'll talk a little bit more about our COVID protocol or influenza protocol and how we'll handle that. But if anybody has a persistent cough or a lot of nasal drainage and sneezing, we're going to ask you just to wear a mask when you're in close proximity to the group. When you're not around everybody close by, you don't need to wear it. But this just protects the rest of the group from getting sick. And then if you have allergies or you have medications, I always pack cold medicine also. I tend to get a regular old-fashioned cold when I fly. So I have Alka-Seltzer Plus or Tylenol, ibuprofen.
The usual stuff.
Usual stuff. Obviously, if you have any medications that you take. I am an expert on sleeping herbs if anybody needs any ideas for things for sleeping. We'll also provide you guys with sleeping masks. We'll have a nice goodie bag for everybody. We haven't decided if we're going to bring them to Mexico and give them to you, or if we're going to ship your gift bags to you ahead of the trip and you can bring things with you. So we still are working on those details for you. Refillable water bottle is a great idea. The hotel water will be great. It's filtered, it's safe. And just your usual mosquito spray. I didn't experience mosquitoes, but I always bring a little bottle of mosquito spray anyway, just in case we're out in the evening. And then just your road food when we're on in the tour vans heading from one location to the next in between meals. If you're like me, I'm a snacker. Protein bars, dried fruit, nuts, that kind of thing. So just things to be mindful of to bring with you.
The good thing is if you bring a lot of snacks and you eat them as you go, you'll have room in your suitcase for souvenirs.
Emily's she's our expert.
Yes.
I don't think anybody knows more than Emily does. She knows more than we do about that kind of thing.
I always learn something new every time I travel. you know, oh, it's easier to do this or do that, or oh, I wish I would have had this or that. So if, you know, we'll start a WhatsApp group for all of us. And that way we can chat and, you know, talk about things like traveling together and different activities. Or, you know, within the group, we can talk about ideas and swap concepts about, you know, what to pack or if anybody has suggestions on certain things. So that's really a fun thing we'll do. We'll start our WhatsApp group here in another month or so. So we'll have more folks joining us and we'll just have an opportunity for everybody to get to know each other.
We're an hour into, so we should, if anybody needs to duck out, we're going to record this whole thing and put it on YouTube.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
Yeah, I need to, but it's so nice to see everybody.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
so good
you
to
too,
see
Emily.
You too, Emily. Thank
Obviously,
you for
Emily,
coming.
you know all this stuff.
Well, I know, but I still wanted to see everybody.
Yeah.
It's so great to
And
meet
I'm looking forward, Nancy and I are looking forward to getting together again. And Amy, I might be interested in going to Mexico City early with you. So,
Okay.
Same here.
okay,
Yeah, same here,
Awesome.
May.
we'll be in touch.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Hi,
See you, Emily. Take care.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to take a minute here, and these are items from the itinerary that we have published on our website. So you can also, if you haven't spent time looking at some of the ideas we have listed on the website, you can go to amybutlerdesign.com under Global Retreats, and we have a whole section on Oaxaca, Mexico, so that you can read some of this in detail. But these are some of the fun things we're going to be doing. As I mentioned earlier, we have this collector's tour of Oaxaca's fine weavers, embroiderers, and textile artists. We're also going to be visiting the ancient city of Zapotec and surrounding mountains and waterfalls. And there's a beautiful, this is a gentle hike, but it is a bit of a hike where we go up to the petrified waterfalls. And up top, there are these warm bathing pools. So you want to pack a swimming suit in your backpack or wear a swimming suit where we can actually soak and enjoy the view of the petrified waterfalls up
It's insane.
up the top of the hill. And it's a beautiful view. It's a very peaceful location. And along the way, we'll be learning about the local flora and fauna with our guide and experiencing a really beautiful natural experience there. And then we talked about visiting the local markets, and we're going to have a traditional cooking class and our mezcal experience with premium tastings. And another workshop I'm really excited about for all of us is spending time with the wood carving masters. And they are known for creating the spirit animals with all the beautiful hand painting. And we're going to do a workshop with them and actually create our own painted hearts and have a wonderful time learning it. They make it look very easy, but it's, but that'll be amazing. We're also going to go to the Sunday market at Tlaculula and a trip to the botanical gardens, which are absolutely
Which is really
beautiful.
cool. Yeah, I love that.
We talked about the spa, and we have a full day printmaking workshop, embroidery workshop, and shuttle loom workshop. And one of the treasures just outside of Oaxaca is the Monte Alban historic site. So it's an incredible ancient city with incredible carvings, stone carvings, and historic spiritual buildings. And the landscape is actually gorgeous. So that's a really nice experience. And they were going to the Potter's Village, where they're known for the black clay and the San Bartola Coyotepec. Excuse me, my voice is dry. And we'll be meeting a master potter there as well. And then, of course, we're going to be sampling incredible meals throughout the city for our evening dinners. And the city center is the Zocalo, which is in walking distance from where we'll be staying, which is a really amazing place to explore the incredible churches, the historic buildings, the colorful galleries and shops. It's a really beautiful spot. So that's a sampling. We have a lot more things on the itinerary, but that at least gives you just a flavor of some of the activities. Yeah. And then the travel agreement. This slide is really great just to show you what the agreement looks like. Some of you may have received the agreement PDF from Susan, and she's actually creating a DocuSign. So it'll make signing the agreement so much easier. You don't have to print it off or scan it or take photos of it. We're going to make that a lot easier for you. I think we've only had one person turn on their agreement. So we're going to be working on those for you this next week. But this is here just as a reminder, if you haven't taken the time to read all the points in the agreement, we ask that you take time to look at the details and also reach out to us if you have questions about anything. We'll talk about some of the points here in a second. But this is mandatory that you read and sign the agreement. Each page has a little signature location and a dating location.
And if you've traveled with us before, it's pretty much the same standard agreement stuff.
But the other important piece that's part of this is your emergency contact information, so that you have a person listed here in the States. We have their emergency contact phone number in case something happens to you where you need medical care and you actually need someone to assist you through receiving medical care. You're going to want to have an agent stateside willing to come over and help you if you're in that situation. We actually had this happen in India a few years ago, and we didn't have this in place. And it was really difficult to be able to support this person and also have the tour continue on for the rest of the guests. So it's a way to have extra protection and support for you should you need it, in the rare occasion that you would need it. But it also allows us to continue on with the trip as well. So this is also somebody that you're going to want to have connected to WhatsApp so that we can communicate with them or you can communicate with them. But we have little pinpoints and reminders for all of this too. So here's some highlights from the travel agreement. We will need to receive your finished, completed agreement. It says within 7 days of receiving the forms. So we'll work on those DocuSigns to make that easy for you guys and anyone that joins us after this point, so that all you have to do is sign the DocuSign and return that right away. And we just talked about the contact information and reading everything. And something that's kind of come up in terms of like the different areas where we'll be traveling, it's important to be mindful of your physical abilities. You know, if you've got a knee that's not in good condition or a lower back issue or shoulder or something, to really think about your ability to travel, your ability to do some of these activities, and being comfortable and feeling good about it. So, and also if there's any kind of challenge that you have with your mobility, that we ask you to disclose that to Dave and I and Susan so that we can support you.
And there's also things like, like if we do a bike tour, you don't necessarily have to go on the bike tour. You could just do a walking tour on your own. There are certain things that we can do workarounds.
Yes, we can help everybody.
Nothing's,
yeah. So we do an interesting, the bike tour is on Cushy bikes with a wonderful guide through the city looking at the mural and wall art on the buildings and some of the historical sites, which is really special to see by bike because it's a really intimate way to be exposed to those. So, and it's also optional, but if you're interested, we do have like a half a day experience planned for you for that.
Yeah.
Again, we're mentioning here, arrive early, don't travel last minute. And we ask that everybody plan on arriving by 2 p.m. on check-in day, August 18th. As I mentioned earlier, our first activity is at 6 p.m. And we know stuff happens and we know people get into challenging situations with travel. But when you're making your plans, we ask that you take this into consideration just to make it more comfortable and fun for you. We have fun together. That's our motto. And this is a nice opportunity to talk about the bonding that happens on these trips, because we are a smaller group. We don't have 40 people traveling together. And what we've experienced over the years is how close everybody gets in sharing this experience together. And it's really, really lovely. And so for that reason, it's a community-based experience. And so we do all really get connected. And so we ask that everybody stay with the tour for the length of the tour, meaning leaving the group is not an option unless you have an illness or something's going on, just because it's disrupted to the cohesiveness of the bonding in the group. Payment schedule. If some of you have already signed up, you realize that Susan has done a really nice job of breaking down the payments for the tour into 4 payments so that this feels more doable for everybody. If you're signed up already, you've already paid your first payment. And then Susan will be sending consecutive emails with instructions and information on when the next payment is due. So you'll be aware of dates when she publishes that, but also It's actually already published on the website. But you'll also have support from Susan. She'll remind you too, so you don't have to worry too much about it. And then this is something we've offered. We've had people want to bring friends and family, and we thought that's a really nice compliment to us. And so as a thank you, we're offering all of our guests that register a $250 discount on your tour cost. And then anyone that you bring with you will also receive $100 off of the cost of their tour as well. So that's just a nice little incentive. If you're thinking about bringing friends and family, it's a nice way for us to say thank you for that. Travel insurance, we highly recommend it, especially in this day and age with the airports are packed, planes are packed, and flights are canceled all the time. And things that happen outside of your control that could affect your ability to make the trip, travel, be there on a timely manner. And or something happens where, an act of God, we have to cancel the trip because of a terrible disaster or something. So all of those things happen in real life all the time. So when we travel and we have guests travel with us, we highly recommend travel insurance. And Susan recommends for any reason insurance, which is more, it encapsulates more things that could come up that protects you better. And she suggests that you speak with a travel agent about the best options for your unique situation. And then also determine your health insurance coverage when you travel overseas. So it's just checking with your policy or checking with your health insurance agent, and make sure that you have a clear understanding about if you should need anything when you're traveling overseas, that you have coverage and you have protection. Does anybody have any questions about any of this so far?
Do you have a rough idea at this point how many have signed up?
Yes, we have.
I think we only have 4 or 5 spots left.
Wonderful.
We have 9 people signed up officially. We have 4 other people that are interested, and we have 16 spots for guests.
Yeah.
So we're well over half full.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close. But like we have people that are like figuring out some logistics of other stuff that they're doing so that they can come aboard. But I think we're going to be between 14 and 16 people, but that's it. We're like we kept it limited. So like all of our trips, we want them to be intimate. We don't, like we all have to be able to fit in like 1 or 2 vans. We're not taking buses. So that's the whole point of these trips, is that we're keeping it very small, very intimate, and very
it's more relaxing.
Yeah. So we all become friends, like everybody does on every single one of our trips. We create that unique experience for people.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
But I want to say that we're going for sure. So we have
yeah, we're good.
We have
we're
enough
going.
people to go, so we won't be canceling the trip due to not enough folks registering. I think that's an important point to bring up. So we are definitely a go.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that we do have a few more people sign up, but we're in really good shape.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, COVID-19 protocol, and I talked a little bit about this earlier, that we're also asking everybody, we're requiring you to bring a minimum of 3 rapid tests. Now, Susan just tested herself this week. There's now a combination of COVID with influenza A and B in the same test. So if you're not positive for COVID, you could identify if you have A or B influenza. But that's not necessary. That we're just asking that we're requiring you to bring the rapid test for COVID. That way, we're just going to follow the CDC protocols in terms of testing, waiting the appropriate amount of time between tests, and then also what's the word? Quarantine. Like, so keeping time to yourself. So this does get tricky if you have a roommate. In an extreme situation, which is a rare situation, you may be asked to find lodging off property due to protect your roommate and the other people in the tour if you happen to have COVID. COVID is it's so much less an issue, but we have to put this in here because it still exists and it still affects people. So that's why we have these points in here for you guys to consider.
Yeah, pretty much after.
Yeah. The travel documents, in terms of your documents, your valid passport, we talked about that, making sure that it's not expiring even during your trip. That's also a good point. And we talked about the requirements entering Mexico.
which are super easy.
That's very minimal. But if you have any other questions about travel documents, you can email Susan now, but we'll also provide you information in the near future about how to prepare, what documents you need to make sure that you have. But it's very basic. It's basically your passport, your ID, and being able to sign the entry card when you come into Mexico.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about the emergency contact requirements. And this is something else to consider also if you're unable to direct your own care, which is what happened with our guest in India. And there's no one that Dave and I can't pull away from the tour. The tour has to still continue. Of course, we will support you and help you and not leave you on your own, but just to understand the balance of needing to have extra support, possibly if you're in an extreme situation. So we suggest that everyone designate an agent through a healthcare power of attorney document and share that copy with us. In the rare instance that it may be necessary for your agent to travel to Oaxaca to oversee your care. We talked about that. And that your agent should have a valid passport and all necessary documents to travel in the unlikely case that this occurs. And that is why it's so important that we ask you to complete your emergency contact information forms. And then I mentioned earlier too, we ask that they have a WhatsApp so that we can get a hold of everybody.
Yeah,
which
that's important.
All of us do anyway, because we want to stay in touch with our loved ones at home. So if you haven't used WhatsApp very much, it's a wonderful, simple app to use. We'll all be getting on it before the trip, and you just need Wi-Fi to connect. Disclosing physical or mental conditions. So if you have any physical or mental issues that require special medical attention, this must be disclosed in writing to us at the time that you register. And this is a section that you can look at in more detail at the top of page 4 of the agreement that explains that just a little bit more, so that if you have a sensitivity to loud noises or there are certain things that are triggering for you, that we know about things in advance so that we can help support you.
Yeah.
And our itinerary could change for the best experience because we're on the ground and we do have a schedule. We try to keep the schedule, but there are times when situations arise and a particular location is closed because of flooding, or the market closed that day unexpectedly and we were going to go to this particular market. So we haven't had to change itineraries much in the past, but we just wanted you to be aware that we may have to tweak it up a little bit to make sure that it works really well. When we've been in India in the past, we've had 2 weeks of workshops, 2 weeks of groups that have traveled with us. And the first week, we added more printing days at a particular workshop because we loved it so much with week 1. So we tweaked week 2 schedule so that we could have another block printing day because it was such a wonderful experience. So that's kind of what happens in this situation.
Yeah, Roger and Opal, we went through that in Marrakesh that one time, it was like, oh, we're not going to, like, the way the workshops worked out, like we ended up like switching up. So like we ended up going and doing pottery and stuff, and other groups went to do sterling silver, and like we just had to like, oh, they can't do that now, so we have to like, like minor stuff, but it's like pretty basic.
Yeah, but we got you covered.
Yeah. And Roger was too good at doing pottery, so we had to
he's got an issue with that.
Got some great photos of that. Great photos.
When the master potter's like, "Hey, who's this guy?" It's like, oh, I don't know. I didn't even know. Yeah.
So then the last point on this slide is all spots on the tour are first come, first serve on the basis of receipt of your deposit. So
you guys don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's just kind of a basic. Here's travel insurance, what to know. This is a wonderful slide Susan created for us, which is really great. So it kind of explains that COVID-19 is an expected event, and all travel companies, airlines, hotels, and event planners anticipate, knowing that there are possibilities of shutdowns, quarantines, outbreaks, inconveniences, and delays. And that's also why we encourage everybody to reverse engineer your planning so that you have extra time and arrive early.
Yeah.
It is therefore incumbent on the traveler to protect themselves against the possibility of the events. Travel companies no longer offer a free pass on cancellations or travel changes due to COVID-19, including the suppliers we utilize in Oaxaca. They have had multiple years of shutdowns and reductions in travel and need to rely upon the planned events to stay in business. And we've all experienced this post-COVID, how everybody's trying to make up for all of the terrible losses during the pandemic. Travel insurance offers protection against these unfortunate events, and you can look for a plan that offers COVID-19 related coverage. Cancel for any reason. Plans offer the most coverage, but make sure that they have COVID-19 benefits. These are the only policies that cover border closures. There are exclusions, so not sure what she means by that. So,
well,
the blank.
Amy, like on March of 2020, Amy and I were headed to, where were we headed? To Cabo San Lucas?
I can't remember. We were
and literally that night, like they're like it all shut down, and we had to cancel the trip, and we didn't have any of this insurance,
right?
Because we didn't know. And they're like, no, this doesn't cover. No. So we lost, like $1,500 in travel fees so we learned this the hard way, like this. Yeah. These insurance things are wonderful.
Good idea. Yeah. And this is a good thing to note, that all policies typically must be in place within 14 days of booking your trip.
Yeah.
So that's important to consider. So make sure you look into the policy and make selections prior to registering. Most medical insurance policies, including Medicare, do not have coverage internationally. It's important to make sure that you have medical insurance when traveling overseas, and also important to have medical evacuation coverage. Make sure you keep all your receipts related to expenses so that you can be reimbursed when you return home. That's a really good idea. Forbes Advisor has a great website that compares all the policies and has detailed information on travel insurance. And this is something we'll put a little nugget of travel insurance in an email to all of you that are coming.
Yeah.
With some of these information, some of this information links to these websites so you can investigate it for yourself.
Yeah, it's just good to have this kind of stuff in your back pocket, I did it again. How did it do that? Like the photograph.
Well, that's okay. So we're almost to the end of the presentation, you guys. We're running a little bit late. I apologize. It's about 20 after 9.
Yeah.
So this is what we talked about earlier about the buddy system when you're out and about. Oaxaca is a very safe place, but it's just a good idea to have someone to travel with. I get disoriented when I travel. You guys might have super great senses of direction, but I don't. So just to keep that in mind, and we'll have great communication set up for all of us, and our itinerary to follow, and information and contact information will be made available to everyone. So you won't be left in any kind of situation where you won't be able to get a hold of us. And I've added our cell phone numbers here. We'll all be in the WhatsApp together as well. And then Susan's offered her cell phone stateside in case any of us need some of her support from this side of the pond. So other miscellaneous details we'll share as we get close to departure. We'll be sending, following consecutive emails with great information, a lot of the things we discussed, and you guys brought up a lot of really good points tonight that we will include in giving additional information for you. But some of the things we'll be needing information on from you would be like food sensitivities, any allergies you might have, or restriction information on dietary needs or anything like that. So we want to make sure everybody's comfortable and has what they need. We'll also create the roommate assignments, unless you already have a roommate you're buddying up with. We'll also give ideas on suggested cash requirements and the exchange rate updates. That's going to change being a foreign country. But in Oaxaca, ATMs are very plentiful and they're very easy to use.
Yeah, it's not like Morocco or India. It's a lot easier to get an ATM.
They're very, and we'll make plenty of ATM stops like we do. But also, it's just always a good idea to get in touch with your bank and let them know you're traveling internationally. But most importantly, to have the 1-800 number handy. So in case we're Chase customers and I call the bank and let them know I'm traveling to India or wherever I'm going, and my card will still get shut down for safety reasons, which is a good thing for fraud protection. So you want to make sure you have the fraud protection number, the 1-800 number for your bank, so that you can call them and have your card released. And that happens pretty swiftly. I've been able to call from India at all hours. It's a 24-hour service that all banks provide. So I keep that number in my wallet now when I travel, because my card gets shut down.
About cash and Visa, do most of the shops take Visa?
Yes, most
Yeah.
shops do take credit cards.
Yeah.
There are situations where cash only exists, like the markets. I don't believe I saw any ATMs at some of the markets that I
The
traveled
restaurants and most of pretty much anything indoors is going to
to. It's gonna
take
take a
Visa
credit card.
for
Yeah.
sure. And a lot of them will take American Express, but when it's only like if you're out on the street, like with the street vendors where you might run into, probably 80% of them now do take, they have, like they have like a
Card machines.
card machines, but yeah, that's kind of the only place where you might, like when we go to the food markets and stuff, it's usually easier to use cash.
Yeah, it just might be easier to
Yeah.
use cash. But we will, that's another point, Roger. We'll investigate that a little bit more and speak with some of our on the ground folks and just get their recommendations too. So
Yeah,
we'll have that information for you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
And that's it.
That's
the
it.
end of our show. We hit escape here.
Oh, it's a great photo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that pretty?
Oh, the colors. Oh,
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable down there. It's magical.
Let me get back to here. Oh, sorry, guys. Okay. So what do I do, Dave?
Mhm.
How do I get back to it? Oh, here we are. We're here.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Oh, you guys were so wonderful, and it's so great to see all of you.
Yeah, thank you for spending this time.
Yeah, thank you for your patience with us as we figured out the technology, Dave's fresh comments, all of it.
I tell you what, Zoom is one of these things where it's just every time you get on it, you think like, oh, I got this dialed in, and then you're like, no, I don't.
Oh, thank you guys. I am just seeing the chat here. Will you be doing, Michelle? She might not be with us still. Michelle says, will you be doing this trip next year? We are planning on it.
Yeah.
Then we had, hi, Elizabeth from Pennsylvania. Do you match folks that want to share a room? Absolutely. Susan is expert at that. And oh, that's so nice for everybody stopping in to see us. So
We'll get back to everybody on that.
yeah, we'll get back to everybody on that. Does anybody have any closing questions or comments or suggestions for us?
Super excited.
I'm excited
Super
too.
excited. Yeah, it's like 7 degrees outside right
I
now.
know.
So
It's bloody miserable here.
It's
It's just
depressing.
awful. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
it's like it's not that cold here. It's like maybe 29, 28 degrees, but it's just like that February.
Ready for
uh-huh.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nancy and I are ready. Even next week's going to be even worse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna have a cold snap here too.
Yeah, there's more coming.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Excited.
It's wonderful to see all of you, and thank you everyone that's here present with us and everyone that spent time with us tonight and your comments and
Yeah, don't hesitate to reach
Yes,
out with any
thanks.
questions you have. Like if Amy can't answer it, then Susan can, and if Susan can't, then I can't either.
That's not very comforting.
But I can,
I did want to ask because I registered, but I don't remember seeing an email with the agreement. But I think what I heard you say is don't worry about it.
Yes.
That'll still be coming with the DocuSign piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. That's a great question, Amy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be coming probably soon. Let's get Susan back on her feet. She's
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
poor
been
Susan.
out all-
Yeah.
She's had flu A, right? So
Yeah.
Yikes.
But we'll
Yes,
take
we've
we'll
been-
take care of her and get her on her feet. But in the meantime, you guys have all of our contact information. If you have questions or other suggestions for information you'd like to see, any things that we didn't answer tonight or things that you think about after we get off this format, just let us know and we'll do our best to get you the information and provide that to the group. Alrighty.
Awesome.
Thank
All
To
right.
let you guys go. This has been so nice.
Thank you guys.
Bye, everyone. Great to see you all.
Bye.
Thank you all
Thank
so
you.
much. Okay, take care, everybody.
Bye bye.
good night.